everything you thought you knew about voting for president. So Colorado's sitting here arguing over the national popular vote, while meanwhile, federal judges just dropped a bomb. They say that our presidential electors are not required to respect Colorado's wishes. This case comes out of 2016 when one of Colorado's 9 electors would not vote for Hillary Clinton, as the majority of Coloradans did. So that elector got replaced with somebody who would vote for Clinton. He sued and he won. Politics guy Marshall Zellinger puts this in perspective for 2020.
In Colorado, when you vote for president, you're really voting for 9 electors from that candidate's party to then cast the Electoral College votes for that candidate, or so you think. How are Colorado's 9 electors picked? Democrats select 9 at the state Democratic Convention. Republicans select 9 at the state Republican Convention. So when Hillary Clinton won the popular vote in Colorado in 2016, the 9 Democratic electors were picked to cast their votes for Clinton.
We have received 8 votes for Hillary Clinton.
Except one didn't.
I, however, do intend to cast my vote for someone other than Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine.
Michael Baca did just that, choosing to give one of Colorado's 9 Electoral College votes to John Kasich. Then Secretary of State Wayne Williams, a Republican, had Baca replaced with an alternate who did vote the 9th Electoral College vote for Clinton. Baca sued, lost in district court, but just won a huge appeal in federal court. We conclude the state's removal of Mr. Baca and nullification of his vote were unconstitutional.
I support Wayne's decision, and I think it's really important to note that the idea of one person, one vote isn't a partisan issue.
Democratic Secretary of State Jenna Griswold believes there are 2 options ahead of 2020. Figure out a new state law to assure Colorado's 9 electors choose who the majority of voters say they want as president, or appeal the decision to the U.S. Supreme Court. Colorado's former Secretary of State likes that idea.
You could bribe individual electors, and even if the elector took a bribe, you can't remove them from the office. And so you could essentially buy the presidency by bribing 270 electors, and there's nothing anyone can do about it under this decision.
Some of you are screaming at your TV right now something about the national popular vote. We'll know next week if the November 2020 ballot will include a question about the national popular vote for Coloradans. Do we want to take part in it or do we not? That would tie our Electoral College votes to the candidate that has the most votes nationwide. Right now, 196 electoral votes in 16 different areas, 15 states and Washington, D.C. have agreed to this compact. It won't take effect until we're at 270. But Kyle, if the appeals court said you can't remove someone for not casting their vote for the winner in Colorado's vote, what would tie them to casting their vote for the winner nationwide?
If you can go rogue, you can go rogue, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you, Marshall. So my recommended read for today is a whole book. I know that's not usually what we do, but I love this novel about how faithless electors could throw an American presidential election. The author is Roy Neal. He used to work for Vice President Al Gore, so he knows a bit about contentious elections. And Neal's book, The Electors, imagines a scenario where electors are about to hold their nose and vote for a candidate that they don't love when a few of them are convinced otherwise. It's fiction, but it's based on real events. The Electors by Roy Neal. We'll put that info on the next Facebook page. Denver's half-baked plan to drop its halfway houses is now coming together. Council could vote Monday on a short-term plan to keep half a dozen halfway houses open while their for-profit operators get phased out of the business here in the city. A new, more progressive city council came in and voted to get rid of private prison companies, which run the halfway houses, but they did not have a plan to replace them right away. That sparked worries that there are 500 people in the halfway houses that could get sent back to jail if they had nowhere to be. The city's public safety department is going to ask council to approve some extensions of up to 1 year. The city eventually wants to build new halfway houses, but that would require zoning changes first. Denver's war on cruising may be coming to an end with a proclamation from those same progressive members of City Council. It wasn't all that long ago that Denver police tried to break up cruising down Federal. Well, now Denver has declared a Cruise Down Feds Day. It's being recognized as a celebration for the Chicano community.
This is proclamation number 19-0838. Whereas Denver has been home to a thriving and vibrant Chicano community, the cruisers connected the immigrant communities of South Federal with Chicano communities of the North Side. My name is Benjamin Chavez. I'm from Denver, Colorado. Hey man, I'm brown and proud, you know, proud of our culture, our dance, our music, our language. The significance of lowriding and cruising is a huge thing to celebrate, you know, in Chicano culture, because it's built around family, it's built around community. Whereas cruising culture, lowriders, and car clubs collectively instill a sense of pride, community, resilience within many North and West Denver families, I believe we're at a pinnacle point in the United States of America where we need to be civically engaged.
Being able to do this proclamation with my fellow councilwoman, Amanda Sandoval, I think this is what really prompted us to listen to Ben Chavez and the community that really wanted to make sure that something was recognized for what it is.
Our vision is to celebrate Chicano cultura and lowriding and cruising down Federal for decades in the future.
This Sunday, August 25th, and every future August 25th will be Cruise Down Feds Day.
US 36 is hopefully getting a firmer foundation. We told you last week about these foam blocks that'll be the new base layer for that section of highway near Westminster that collapsed into a sinkhole this summer. Our next question comes from a viewer named Jennifer, who asked, what happens when the foam blocks get wet? Jennifer, that's a good question, because it would be real bad if the foam blew up like those foam dinosaur capsules we had when we were kids. So we asked CDOT and the Insulfoam company in Aurora. They say this EPS, expanding polystyrene, is waterproof. Insulfoam says that EPS is also used to build docks. It's so waterproof that it helps the docks float. Along with being waterproof, CDOT says it's also going to add a protective plastic layer, trying to keep any extra water off the foam at all.
Seems like a plan. I don't want to overstate this, but years of reporting on Next have led up to this very moment when we can finally connect the dots between three of our favorite topics: mind-blowing conspiracy theories, the confusion between illegal marijuana and legal hemp, and peaches. Juicy, sweet Palisade peaches. My friends, it is all coming together, and it all traces back to one man, David Cox. So, you know, it's Palisade peach season. Those juicy little suckers are showing up at stands across Colorado. And each year, people contact Next when they are surprised to see that some of their Palisade peaches come with a side of 9/11 trutherism. It's right there on the boxes. They proclaim that the terrorist attack was an inside job. The grower behind the conspiracy peaches is David Cox of Palisade Peaches. He uses the fruit to draw people in to the rabbit hole of debunked conspiracy theories. Cox, peaches, Cox, conspiracies. Well, you know what? Turns out peaches aren't all that he's growing there in Palisade. Cox goes on trial Monday, accused of an illegal marijuana grow. Now, he claims it was totally legal hemp and that prosecutors had this all wrong. We've covered a ton of cases just like that here on Next. But now, one such case has snagged Colorado's most prolific producer of truther peaches. Cox claimed to me last year that this case is government retaliation for his 9/11 trutherism. The state Supreme Court says the case can proceed. So all of this comes together on Monday. Peaches, marijuana or hemp, conspiracy theories. It all comes full circle.
Generations in Jeffco have come to one place for the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, as they say. We'll take you to an aging legend. And we'll meet a 17-year-old who isn't out of high school and isn't afraid of real work.
Sometimes I think we work too hard.
His unconventional path to success has kept his family on the rails at the same time. Without that,
it would have been pretty hard. To be honest, they take a lot of the responsibility that we have in here.
That's next.
tracking severe weather tonight. Northeastern Denver County currently under a severe thunderstorm warning as we're bracing for some heavy rain and possibly some hail after a day with cooler high temperatures. But the front that brought in that 15 to 20 degree cool down has also brought in more moisture. Severe thunderstorm watch out for much of the urban corridor, I-25, including Denver, until 9 o'clock. Slow moving storms have been producing a lot of lightning and wind as they're coming into the city from the northwest, tracking toward the east southeast. So here in downtown Denver, we do believe in the next 15-20 minutes, heavy rain will be an issue for the drive home, and there is some hail in these storms. Colliding outflow boundaries will also keep the storms going until 9 o'clock tonight, south and east of the metro area. We do see a little bit of a break from the heavy weather tomorrow, but there's still a chance of isolated storms. The activity tonight will go into the wee hours of the morning for areas like Sterling, Ray, Burlington, and Kit Carson. So in Denver for tonight, severe thunderstorm watch until 9, severe thunderstorm warning until 6:45. Chance of rain, small hail, and temperatures in the mid-50s, mid-80s tomorrow, and then warm temperatures back in the 90s with lots of sunshine as we move through Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Kathy, thank you. The flagship football stadium in Jefferson County is getting old. Next Friday's season opener is the 60th for Jeffco Stadium. A lot has changed since that stadium hosted its first games in 1959.
We've gone from about 8 high schools to about 17 high schools in those 60 years. Dennis Ploy, so I'm the sports information director for Jeffco Public Schools. So this year is our 60th year, started the 60th year for Jeffco Stadium. This is really our flagship stadium. For 60 years, incredible events, state championship games that have been played here. So this is the original program from the inaugural game back September 5th, 1959, that Lakewood played in against Cheyenne Indians. So these are all official signals that they used so fans who are here can say, oh, well, that's what he's calling offsides or stuff like that. 60 years for this kind of field, this kind of facility is amazing. Not a lot of stadiums are like this anymore. Just the amount of people that you can hold in this stadium. 10,000 is about the max. Is pretty much the biggest high school venue that you have that's just high school. A lot of people have so many great memories here. If it's state track meets from all across the state, people remember. And just the atmosphere that you get here at Jeffco Stadium, I think, is just great on Friday nights. Homecoming games are crazy here. Big rivalry games get really intense. I mean, just those memories, I think, is important to hold on to and to recall for those people who love this facility.
Jeffco Stadium is intentionally featuring an old school rivalry for next Friday's opener. It'll be Bear Creek versus Lakewood. They're 2 of the 8 original schools that played when Jeffco Stadium was brand new. Broncos running back Philip Lindsay is looking more like himself on Madden 2020. Last week we showed you the look on the left, that abomination that Madden was trying to pass off as the likeness of Denver's favorite football son. Looked absolutely nothing like Lindsay, who's a pretty distinctive looking guy. Well, they've improved it to the look on the right after EA Sports got an earful from Lindsay, the Broncos, and fans. Steve Stager was filling in this seat last week when we shared that story about Philip Lindsay's unfortunate look. Steve and the team decided to double down with some terrible Madden-style avatars of our own team. So we asked our graphics guy, perhaps we could get an update as well. Sadly, we don't have the skill or the budget of EA Sports. This was our attempt to improve Steve's avatar. I think that's an improvement. Marshall's was pretty terrifying. He looks like some kind of like angry Boy George there, but a better look there on the right. And then finally mine, the first look, unfortunate is one word for it. I lost some weight in the second version and got a haircut, so we'll call that a win.
First comes family, then work, then everything else. All in one place.
A 17-year-old who isn't choosing between a career and school. He wants both. Now, most people who get a Denver boot want that thing off as fast as possible, which made us wonder whether a shoe company even knows what it's selling. That's next.
Did you have a job to get through school? I mean, not college. Like, did you work full-time in high school? That is an unconventional and difficult path. Yet a full-time chef in Greeley is taking it. And our Lori Lizarraga explains why.
Three Bros Mexican Grill. How can I help you? Okay. And would you like mile hot or half neck?
Raul Molina makes up 1/3 of the bros of Three Bros Mexican Grill in Greeley.
Preparing, cooking, cleaning.
He works here full time.
Waiting is one of the things I'm probably not going to be able to do. I can't keep a smile.
He doesn't wait tables, but he does just about everything else.
We have to. There's no slacking off here.
Here's a good time to mention, Raul is 17 years old, a senior in high school.
Sometimes I think about like leaving this place and doing my own thing, but I'll never be able to get a boss as nice as him.
And add onions. Anything else for you?
Raul's dad, aka his boss, Jose Molina.
And would you like to add any steak chicken?
Moved to the States when he was about Raul's age. He started this business last year. But without his boys,
it would be pretty hard. To be honest, they take a lot of the responsibility that we have in here.
My dad always calls me his right-hand man. I'm always here to help him.
To do that, Raul is finishing high school online. A tough choice, he says, he'd make again.
I'm proud of myself, I'm proud of them, I'm proud of all of my family. Getting this place started and already running.
He's come a long way since they started.
At home, I would usually just help out my grandma.
Now, the kitchen doesn't run without him.
I like the heat, I like the feeling of being able to feed somebody. It's pretty hectic, but I like it.
Like a lot of high school seniors, Raul's got his sights set on the future.
My main goal is to become an accountant.
But he's already doing this math right.
First comes family, then work, then everything else.
For next, with photojournalist Corky Scholl, I'm Lori Lizarraga.
Accountant who can cook? Yeah, he's going to be okay in the business world. You ever get one of those Denver boots? Great way to ruin your day. You're not going anywhere. And that made a next viewer wonder why a shoe company is selling a Denver boot. I would say that most Coloradans probably know that a Denver boot is not worn on the foot. It's that wheel locking device that they can put on your car so you can't go anywhere if you don't pay your parking tickets. A next viewer named Bill saw this online ad and thought that it was hilarious that a shoe company is selling the Denver boot. I mean, what, they got to be like California or maybe somewhere on the East Coast if they don't know the story with this. Nope, this is Zero Shoes out of Broomfield. Okay, so maybe it's like an ironic thing. Well, we called up and the CEO told us his team never made the connection to the original Denver boot until we called.
Because we never called it the Denver boot in a sense. We all just refer to it as the Denver. In fact, not only was it not until you said it that it put two and two together. It was, you said the Denver boot, and I'm going, yeah, right. And you said, what a Denver boot is. I'm like, oh my God, yes, I do. Happily, I've never had to experience one personally. But yeah, we literally just never, no one in the office, and there was a bunch of us, ever put that together.
They call it the Denver boot because that wheel clamp was created by a shop teacher at Manual High School. The city still uses them to get people to pay their parking tickets. On our conspiracy theory today, marijuana, peaches, conspiracy. David Shumway writes, sounds like a hell of a weekend. Q is interested whether I drew the cartoons on the board before he drew the arrows. That was actually the excellent sketch work of our own Jeremy Hohola. Grace says, I feel like next should be rated R and give Kyle absolutely no filter on what he says. I think I would say